Yo, what's good? What's good? NBA YouTube. It's your man 100 Grand Ross with The Rock Never Stops coming to you with another episode of NBA content. Today, we are talking about three young NBA big men who are finally turning their young careers around. If you like this video, please smash that like button, subscribe, hit the bell for more notifications of new videos. But without further ado, I just want to dive into this. The 2018 NBA draft was one of the deepest drafts that we have seen probably over the last decade plus. I'm talking about two already all NBA all stars in Luka Doncic, Trey Young. You got countless other players with just as much promise: Michael Porter Jr., Jaren Jackson Jr., DeAndre Ayton. But when you really go through this draft, one thing that stands out more than anything is just how many big men were drafted at the top of this draft. Now, when you go through the whole draft, you recognize that even outside of the lottery, you got starting center Robert Williams, drafted, I think, number 27. Shoot, you got Mitchell Robinson, you got Chimezi Metu, all starting centers in the NBA right now, or starting big men. And yet, there was a few big men that I thought had just as much promise as DeAndre Ayton. Came out of high school with just as much acclaim, high school All-Americans, big time NCAA franchises. I call them franchises because these are professional teams. And yet, coming out the blocks, they struggled. And I mean, they struggled. The first one, I've been talking a lot about lately. And if you followed any of my videos, you would recognize this name: Marvin Bagley III, Mr. Bagley, Bags. This kid came out of Duke. He actually recategorized his graduation basically to come out a year earlier. So he could have did another year of high school, but he decided to go into college earlier because there was so much hype around him, and it was validated. 6'11", close to a 38 some odd inch vertical, could shoot the three, could grab rebounds with the best of them, could run like a guard, and literally, this kid could do just about anything he wanted on the court at such a young age. And nobody ever seen a player quite like this. Like, they try to compare him between like Giannis and others, but honestly, the way he runs the court uh, is so effortless. It kind of reminds me of like a Sean Kemp, not as athletic, but as effortless of an athlete. Except Marvin Bagley III was able to play on the perimeter, shoot threes, as well as post you up and finish inside. And so I saw him coming out, and I understood why he was taken above Luka. I understood. Luka, we knew was going to be the goods, but his athleticism a bit underwhelming. Could it really translate? I got it. But everything about Marvin Bagley III checked off. Everything. Unfortunately, everything except his new head coach, Luke Walton. I've talked at length about this guy. I think he stunted his development from day one. The front office didn't do him any favors by bringing in Rashawn Holmes, who took his spot in the starting lineup, but I still think they should have started him from jump. You don't draft somebody number 2 and stick them on the bench. I don't care how raw they are. You see what they're doing with Jalen Green? They're playing him. It doesn't matter. But they stuck him on the bench. Luke Walton had terrible lineups, didn't know how to put in an offensive system, clear expectations. And Marvin Bagley would struggle for the next 3 years. His dad would be like, "Get my son out of there. I don't want him in Sacramento anymore." And I understood. As an onlooker, I'm like, shoot, I wouldn't want to be there. It was a bad situation for everybody. But since Alvin Gentry has taken over, yo, Bags is back. Bags is back. He's hitting threes regularly. He's crashing the boards like he did at Duke, finishing inside, playing with great energy. Kind of reminds me of a more athletic Rashawn Holmes. And when you watch him, all of a sudden, all the things that used to make you really excited about his game is coming right back. You're like, yo, this kid in the right system, watch out, watch out. Detroit, I know you're looking. I know you're looking. Oklahoma City, I know you're looking. I know you're looking. You're like, if one of these big men I'm going to talk about today can maintain what they're doing currently for the rest of the season, Bags is not just going to be getting buckets. Bags is going to be taking home that bag. Now, the other big man, it's actually an interesting situation because both of them are on the same team. And you might be able to guess who I'm actually talking about. Wendell Carter Jr. and Mohamed Bamba. Mo Bamba. Yo, Mo Bamba, everybody told y'all it was going to take a few seasons for him to grow into his body. Same thing with any other skinny athlete in the NBA, whether it's Brandon Ingram. Um, they're going to take some time to get strong enough to really play at an NBA level against grown men, against that level of physicality, especially at that position. And yet, Mo Bamba showed at the end of last season all that promise that we started to see him put it together consistently. And this is a big thing, consistency. A part of it was also he wasn't getting the playing time behind a Nicola Vucevic, who was a leading man on the Orlando Magic, taking his team into the playoffs, 7-foot all-star, highly skilled. Yeah, I understood why he wasn't getting a lot of playing time. But if you watch him this year, yo, a 7-foot center with a 7-foot, I believe he has a 7'10" wingspan, 7'10" wingspan, light on his feet, athletic, but most importantly, yo, this kid can shoot the three. He can shoot the three flat out. It looks so sweet and clean. Leaving his hands at the top of the key on the arch, catch and shoot, on the move a little bit, picking pops. And then he can dive to the rim and finish over just about anybody with that length. Mohamed Bamba finally is also in the starting lineup. If he can continue to put this together for the rest of the season, let's say he ends the season with a stat line of somewhere around 14 points a game, 8, 9 rebounds, 1.5, 2 blocks a game, high efficiency. Shoot, even decent efficiency. And over 35% from three, yeah, that's easily 18 mil. Easily 18 mil. Toronto, stand up. This your guy. This your guy. But he's also playing next to the other guy I want to talk about, Wendell Carter Jr. Wendell Carter Jr. reminded me a lot of Al Horford. A little bit bigger, though. A little bit naturally bigger. Extremely physical. Had like a 7'4", 7'5" wingspan. Only about 6'10". But his basketball IQ was so high coming out of college. Now, I mean, going into college, but even more so coming out. He knew where he needed to be. His rotations were sharp. But similar to Marvin Bagley, he ran into a horrible coach. I'm not even going to say his name. I can't remember his name for the Chicago Bulls. You probably already know, like Doyle, Hoyle, something like that. It was terrible. It was terrible. Players were walking out of practice. They didn't want to listen to him. The coach wouldn't let him shoot threes. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You don't want to develop this guy? Top, what was he? The number 7 pick in a deep draft? You picked him number 7 to not develop him? It's a terrible situation. Terrible situation. And so what ended up happening is that he began floundering, losing a little confidence, you can tell, stopped shooting the ball, try to just stick to defense, ended up with a bunch of little nagging injuries, and next thing you know, he's traded for Nikola Vucevic. Now, Vucevic is looking like he's on one of the top teams in the NBA, but Wendell Carter Jr. and Mohamed Bamba together on the Orlando Magic have been absolutely stellar when it comes to playing good, sound defense. And they remind us, I mean, I'm gonna be honest, they remind me a lot of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Not as fine tuned because Darius Garland, Colin Sexton, them boys, they've been at it for a while. Jarrett Allen, been at it for a while. Lauri Markkanen for a while. Evan Mobley, Evan Mobley is more of a new addition, um, but high IQ. It slides right into a veteran team. And so when we look at these three big men, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't see any of them getting less than 15 mil a year. I don't see it. Too many teams who need a legitimate big man. The league is shifting back. In case you haven't noticed, the big man is back. Is back. Who are the two leading MVP candidates last year? Nikola Jokic, Joel Embiid. Centers. Dominant in centers. Now you start looking throughout the rest of the league, you got Karl Anthony Towns, right? Bam Adebayo. You got them boys in Indiana, Miles Turner, DeMontis Sabonis. Still got Clint Capella over there. Robert Williams is now starting. You got Rudy Gobert. Yo, if you ain't got a big man, if you ain't got a center, legitimate center, you're going to be on struggle. DeAndre Ayton held it down for Phoenix last year, getting him into the NBA Finals. If he had had a backup, who knows what would have happened. So right now, I want y'all to take a look at these three big men. And I want you to put down below in the comment section who you think is actually going to pick them up. I think Orlando for sure is going to keep one of those two big men, but they ain't going to be able to keep both. They ain't going to be able to keep both. Financially, I think they could, but they're not going to want to. Another team is going to go up enough to steal one of them. I think it's going to be Mo Bamba who's going to be out of there. Then they're going to keep Wendell Carter Jr., who they started even over him as soon as they traded for him. And Marvin Bagley the third, I think he's going to be out of there too. I don't think Sacramento is in a place to sign him for a significant amount. And if he continues to play at extremely high level, yeah, they're not going to want to mess around with those salary books. So if you like this video, smash the like button, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and leave down in the comment section some thoughts around those three big men. Marvin Bagley III, Mohamed Bamba, Wendell Carter Jr. Until next time, I'm out. Peace.